So today we're going to be talking about the dreaded hanging out. Boy, are those two words that are fraught with so much meaning, both good and bad. Today I'm going to be giving you my take on hanging out and how you handle being asked to hang out. If you're a woman over the age of college, really, and I mean going to college in the quote-unquote normal way, meaning you go from high school to college and you're done college at about 22, 23 years old. If anything beyond that, you are being asked to hang out, it's not going to be helpful to you in terms of any meaningful thing with a man. Now, it can, and everything, of course, has an exception to the rule. But here's the very important point that I want you to take away from this video today, that if you set things up in a certain way, it's going to be much harder for you to take things to the commitment you might desire down the road. And in many cases, when you start hanging out with someone, it connotes completely casual, and this doesn't help you. So I'm going to give you tips, if you stay tuned to this, on actually what you say when you are asked to hang out. Believe it or not, I get women coming to me in their 30s who are still using that term. They're being asked to hang out, and they are still doing so and expecting. And these are women close to 35 years old who are thinking about marriage and children. So my gosh, if you are, and you are still hanging out, using that term, allowing men to use that term with you, you are not doing your job. And what's your job? To guide him to what it is really that he underneath may want. He doesn't even sometimes know that he wants it, because relationships and commitment and all of that are really not in the realm of what the man is thinking about in the beginning before he's in love. How do I know this? Well, it's a very large poll done with men that really kind of sums it up and says it all, certainly all that we know. And that is that women date for the potential for a relationship, and that men date with one thing in mind, and that is for the possibility of short-term sexual encounters. And the short term may mean anything from one night stand to, a couple of years or whatever. So you have to know that going in, that it's very, very important that you set things up from the beginning in a way that helps lead him to wanting more. So I'm going to tell you and give you these tips on how to handle when a man uses the term hanging out. So when he asks you to hang out, you really, right then and there, you've got to be ready and really practice these different ways that are more intrinsic to you. And again, it's not going to be what you say so much as how you say it, with very feminine, flirty energy. If you want to hang out with this man, what that means, and again, we're going to take the hanging out of your vocabulary. Because if you use it with men, immediately that connotes to him that everything with you can be casual, and you can be looked at as maybe just one of those short-term sexual encounters. So he comes to you and he asks you, hey, do you want to hang out tomorrow? And you have a choice now to say a few different things, and here are these tips. You can say things like, if you're asking me to go out with you, I might consider that. Very non-threatening, correct? Now, you might think that that's too forward. It's not, because he asked you to be with him in some way. If he's not interested in taking you out, then there's not going to be anything here. In other words, if this is, and we're going to go about the premise in my book, that men need to be ready, willing, and able to have some kind of relationship. If he's not ready to take you out for whatever reason, it's not going to have any chance of being something other than perhaps just sex with him. So when he says about just hanging out rather than taking you out and asking you on a date, and it doesn't have to be major money. It can be, as simple as, hey, would you like to go get an ice cream with me? It can be something so simple. But words have power. And agreeing to hanging out gives him an understanding of you and what you will accept that will not bode well for you in the future. You can answer things like, and this is a little more bold, but, I don't really hang out with men. That's just telling him in a completely, also non-threatening way that you don't do that. Now, you can tweak it, and here's a tweak for you. I don't really hang out with guys unless they're my friends. What did you just say? I'm not considering you a friend. That's important for the man. Because if he's just looking for you to be friends with benefits, you've just told him something very significant. I would dare say that you have just raised your level so high that the man is going to, be wowed by that, and it's going to tweak things for you. Because if he's not going to take you up on it, and that frightens him away, or that pushes him away, then you have your answer. It's not, and you might really like him, but if he's not going to do that, there's no getting around it. And that's what hanging out tends to be. If you like someone and you accept his hanging out, it's what it tends to be for you. You're going to do it because you're trying to please him and just go with what he's doing, and it doesn't lead him in the direction that you're likely going to want to go with this. So you don't want to do it. So those two tips, and you can come up with other ways to say that you just don't do that. And you say, well, will there be a group there? And I'll say, no, just me and you. And you say, oh, well, if it's a group, I hang out. But, just one-on-one, I don't really hang out. If this is the wording that is used in your group or what have you, he's going to be stunned. But you're just showing him, I will possibly go out with you, but not just hang out with you. So if you start to do this, and here's the beauty. You can do it the first few times with men that you have no interest in, okay? Now, if a man is just asking you to hang out that you just are interested in being friends with, great. Here's the other possibility if this is too tough for you. If you accept or have accepted a hangout with a guy, and then it gets somewhat sexual, you can, the next time he asks you, hey, do you want to hang out? You say, I made a little change in my life, and I no longer hang out with men that I make out with. He's going to be like, what? What do you mean? You're saying you don't want to hang out? Well, I don't want to just hang out. And like I said, I don't hang out with men with whom I make out. I go out with men with whom I make out. That's going to be somehow maybe very difficult for you. But until you do that, you really are not ready to handle more that's going to come down the line in the relationship, especially if you have sex with him. So keep this in mind. And for more tips on things like this, like texting, for example, it's really, really important in how you text, because in how you text helps you create this feeling that you want with him, that you are special, and you expect treatment of going out, not just hanging out. I will link that in this video of my 5 R's of texting and using emojis in text. Please do that. And please, if you are in a situation where you are just accepting hangouts with men, you can connect with me more. Maybe be on my podcast and we can talk about that. That's the Make and Wonder podcast, you can go to realcoachingconversations.com, and we can be talking on the podcast about this. You can do a session with me to talk about it. It's really important that you raise your deserve level in this way. You deserve to be going out with a man, and you deserve to be taken out from a man, not just hanging out. Remember that. Use these tips. You're going to get to that next level, and I welcome you on the journey with that. Until next time. I trust you got a lot of good information from today's video, and I enjoy bringing you content that is valuable for success in your romantic life. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the alert bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And if you want more on any of the content you see here, you can go to my book, Why Won't He Commit? How a Man Decides to Make You the One. You can order it at any fine retailer where you get your books. And if you want more on me or any of my programs, my podcast, go to coachpaulagrooms.com, and we could be talking soon.